in 1947, the overwhelming majority of the population of Palestine were Arabs, over 2/3. And the Charter of the United Nations, much like the Covenant of the League of Nations, talks about self-determination. And so the Palestinians said, well, we're the majority, it's our country, we want to be independent in our own country. That's not what the United Nations decides. It has the same kind of biased approach to this that the League of Nations did, for different reasons. And we're talking about a different era, and we're talking about different powers. Essentially, it's the United States and the Soviet Union that back the partition resolution of 1947. What does that resolution do? It gives most of a country, most of which is owned by Arabs, and which has an overwhelming Arab majority, to a putative Jewish state. So 55% of Palestine, including most of the fertile land, most of which is owned by Arabs, and about half of whose population would have been Arabs. It gives that 55% of Palestine to the Jewish minority for a Jewish state. And it gives a little over 43% to the Palestinians, who are, as I've said, 2/3 of the population. The Palestinians naturally reject this. They say, it's our country. We're entitled by the Charter of the United Nations to self-determination. We don't accept that most of our country be given to this minority, most of whom are immigrants to this country recently. And the result is the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. There is no way to create a majority Jewish state in a majority Arab country without reducing that majority. And that is done in 1948 by the process that Palestinians describe as the Nakba, which is the expulsion of over 750,000 Palestinians, and eventually the destruction of most of their villages, the lands are then given over to Jewish settlements, which are established in the decades that follow.
You know, I want to just read a statement. It was a part of a private memo that Arthur James Balfour sent to his cabinet members back in August of 1919, because I think this is the kind of stuff that most Americans have been kind of shielded from knowing about, from learning about. It tells you the intentions from the very beginning by the very people who tried to create this Jewish state. So Balfour said in August of 1919 to his cabinet, it was a private memo that actually wasn't published until I believe the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
He said, Zionism, be it right or wrong, good or bad, is rooted in age-long traditions, in present needs, in future hopes of greater import than the desires and prejudices of these 700,000 Arabs who now inhabit that land. I mean, it's just so transparent, so clear. The candor is incredible there. Yet there's this denialism all the way to modern times, to today, where there seems to be this, rejection of what actually happened in history and why it is that the Palestinian people have been resisting the taking of their land, the establishment of Israel as a Jewish state.